My name's Guy Kesterman. I've been a professional bike and kit reviewer for 25 years, and this is my tech talk round on Canyon's Spectral CF8, on Canyon's Spectral 125 CF8.
So the first thing to say is, while it looks identical to the existing Spectral, Canyon assure me this is a totally different build with a totally different mould, very subtly different tube shapes and profiles, and a different composite layout which saves 100 grams over the longer travel frame. But you've also got different linkages and suspension kinematic, so there's a bit more anti-squat in the way that the bike kicks, and its travel is down to 125mm rather than 150mm. And another difference is, which you might not notice immediately, is that it uses a performance version of the Flow X rear shock rather than a Performance Elite, which is what the longer travel bike gets in this CF8 spec. And that means that the low speed compression damping is not externally adjustable. However, up front you do get this 140mm Fox Float 36 Performance Elite fork, which gets full low and high speed compression and rebound damping, and is basically just a top end factory fork without the gold bits.
Well, that would generally be considered overkill for such a short travel bike, but then this is no normal short travel bike. You've got 64-degree head angle, got 486mm reach on the large, and 76mm effective seat angle as well. So properly rowdy angles. It's 437 on the back with these massive chainstays. I mean, they've got to be some of the deepest around, and they kick every bit as hard as they look like they will. And then you've got this really long, gradually tapering seat stay running all the way up to the back of the shock, and then these tight little linkages here for the rocker. And all the bearings on this bike are lifetime warranted. Nice little details like the shock bolts there are replaceable, so if they get misthreaded you can change them out. And then on the back of the shock you've got a high and low transfer chip there. You've also got an adjustable travel, Canyon drop a seat post in here. You've got Canyon's own G5 stem, you've got their own long 780mm bars, you've got ergo grips, and you've got a full Shimano XT group set, including 200mm rotors, so massive amounts of bite on the front. Again, for a short travel bike, this is not messing about. And then 180mm at the rear, and as you can see, it's a 1051 cassette on there, so full wide range cassette. And the big advantage with Shimano is the cassettes are a lot cheaper to replace. They don't seem to last quite as long as SRAM, but they're about half the price to replace when you need to. And you've got alloy cranks, so although the bottom bracket is relatively high on this at 340mm, you can see I've still tapped it out a few times. So again, just a bit of peace of mind really compared to a carbon crank. A little bit more weighty certainly, but you know, if you're a regular crank tapper, then you'll enjoy having metal on there. And again, it's the same with the rear mech as well. In terms of wheel pack, you've got super tough, dependable XM 1700 wheels from DT Swiss with their spokes, with their hubs as well. Up front, interestingly, you've got a DHR. So you've got what is officially a rear tyre on the front, but it's just grippy. That's why they've put it on there. It's just a really good, hard braking, hard driving tyre. And it's Max Terra 3C. With exo protection, and it's, like I say, it's 2.4, and they're 30mm wide rims, so it comes up nice and chunky. Then on the back you've got the Dissector, which is a slightly faster rolling tyre. You can see it's just got a bit more ramp to it there, and again, that's in 3C Max Terra Exo as well. So again, I mean, they could have gone slightly, I mean, considering they put a piggyback shock on it, they could have gone slightly heavier with the rear tyre, but to be honest, I'm glad they didn't. Because even as it sits at this, even with a 2.5 kilo carbon fibre frame, which is pretty light, the whole bike weighs in at 14.3 kilos before you put pedals on it, which is pretty much exactly the same weight as the longer travel Spectral. Oh, one thing I forgot to point out, you get really nice little pop out axles on the back there, so wheel removal on the back is tool free, and you get QR15 axle there on the front as well. So wheel removal both ends is tool free. And oh yeah, you know, just little little details. I mean, considering what good value you are, Canyon always do the detailing really, really nicely. You've got those little screw-in cable ports there, keeping everything quiet. You've got cable clamps on the cables, you know, and even the way the paint's kind of like, you know, you got the black cut off there and then the red front, and you know, it's got a really nice sort of aesthetic feel to it. Big chunky chain protectors there and underneath, and you've got a belly pan there. You know, there's just, you know, like I said, you've already got like you've already got double sealed bearings and stuff in there. It's just, they're really, really well thought out bikes. And yeah, you do get them delivered in a box, but yeah, they've got a service centre in the UK now, and they've got a service centre in most countries, and they're also present at most big events as well. So they're a lot easier to demo, and they're a lot easier to get hold of than they used to be. So there you go. Well, that's the spec details talked through. But why would you want a bike that costs the same, weighs the same, looks the same, and has the same spec as the longer travel bike, but has less travel? Well, that's where the live ride comes in. So make sure you watch that as well, because that's where I'll get into the proper rowdy happy character of this bike, and why, even though it doesn't make sense on paper, you might well find this is the perfect bike for you. So make sure you click on that link at the end, make sure you subscribe, make sure you click for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up, like as well, so YouTube share it more. And if you really like what I'm doing on the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon, where you get extended behind the scenes and early edits, and you'll get them all ad-free as well. So if you really like what I'm doing with the channel, and if you're an investor, you'll also get your name scrolling up on the screen like these fantastic supporters now. But for now, I've been Guy Kestevan on Guy Kest TV, talking you through the tech details on Canyon's Spectral 125 CF8.